You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the most wonderful half hour you will spend all week long if you are interested in the pet industry. I promise you that. My name is Jamie Migdal. I am your host, and please welcome to our most wonderful episode of Pets Mean Business on Pet Life Radio Network. So as you know already, if you've been listening, and I hope that you have, that our whole purpose of being here together and our whole goal is to offer you something. So you may be an entrepreneur in the pet space or not in the pet space and looking to get into the pet space. You may be an animal welfare advocate. You may be an inventor. You may be an employee of an entrepreneur of a pet business. I'm not sure who you are and what you're doing, but I know that whatever we're going to talk about today with my amazing guest, you're going to be able to pull something from, and it's going to help you in your life or in your career in some significant or meaningful way. And the reason that I can say that is because for 20 years, I've been in this industry, more than 20 years. I hate to say that, but it's true. For more than 20 years, I've been in the pet industry. And what really drove me to want to be a part of this network and create this show is that there are so many inspiring, incredible people out there doing things with animals, for animals, with animal people, for animal people, and they're just going about their business every day, totally full of passion, full of commitment, full of inspiration, and they don't have a voice. Or if they do have a voice, it's for a very specific audience in a very specific space. It's not something that really people are paying attention to. And so this whole show is about bringing a lens to and a spotlight on people who are so compelled to be a part of the pet industry in a way that maybe we don't even think exists. So here we are, Pets Mean Business. It's more than money. It's more than lifestyle. It's more than profit. It's more than volunteer base. It's more than everything. It's everything and all rolled up into one ball. How we can take pets and take this industry and take it to the next level by coming from a place of passion and ingenuity and innovation. Speaking of innovation and ingenuity, our guest today is just that. And when we start talking to her, name is Shawna Schuh. Hi, Shawna. I'm going to say hi to you right now. I normally don't do that, but I can't help it because you're on the phone and I want to talk to you. Hi, Shawna.
Hi. Happy to have people listening. Hi, I'm here.
Hi, yay, Shawna Schuh. All right, so listen, here's the thing about Shawna. I will do a quick disclaimer because I think it's important. I like Shawna a lot. It's more than like Shawna. I'm professionally in love with Shawna, and I can't pretend. I can't pretend that I'm not because it's going to be so obvious. I met Shawna about a year and a half ago. I don't even know when I met Shawna. I don't even know it feels like a long time ago, but I wasn't sure what to make of Shawna, and I know that she knows this, so I'll speak listen, I'm going to speak very, very, very honestly. I wasn't sure what you were doing, how you were doing it. I didn't get it. I've been in the industry for a long time. I've seen a lot of things, a lot of people doing a lot of things, and didn't really understand what you were doing until I really understood what you were doing. And when I met you, I think it was probably last October when I finally sat down in a room with you and met you, it really hit me in a really deep, visceral place that you are the person that everyone's been waiting for. And I say that, I don't say that lightly. I really mean, there's all of this disjointedness in the pet industry and all of these folks that are really just running around like chickens with their head cut off. No, that's probably a terrible joke for a pet radio. And there's not a lot of unification on just a general level, right? Each vertical has some unifying stuff. We have associations and we have, shows and things, but there's no just general unifier. And here comes Shawna Schuh and with what you do. So folks, I always like to offer up, if you're listening and you're near a, some sort of tablet or your laptop, and you want to also be kind of following along with who these amazing folks are while you're listening, let's just make sure that you get on to Shawna's site, which is womeninthepetindustry.com. And I feel like having that website in front of you as you're listening is going to be really helpful to just kind of the vibrant energy behind this association and behind what Shawna's putting together. And I think the website's a great visual and a good representation of that. So with no further ado, although I guess I've already done this, please welcome with me the wonderful, talented, and delightful Shawna Schuh. Hi, Shawna.
Hey. applause, the huge
hey,
applause.
I know.
Barks
I
and
was just.
whinnies and cackles and.
I know. I felt like that was. I feel like I needed a drum roll and then like an applause machine. So, all right. So here's what's going to happen.
Something to add to the shows, Jamie.
So I know I do. I need some good. I need some like dogs barking and cats meowing and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'll have to work on that. So listen, before we go any further, will you please, I know I just gave your website out, but will you go ahead and give out your contact information so that way we're doing that in the front. I usually do that in the back end too, but just your email, maybe a phone number, whatever you want to give. So if people want to reach you, they can go ahead and jot that information down now. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And by the way, I'm very open. That's what we do. It's the way the world works now that we please call me, email me, do your due diligence. I just wrote an article about that. I mean, go on the website, see what it's about. And then the questions versus, that's a tip, a business tip that I would recommend for everybody is that they're actually don't call and go, so what are you all about?
Right.
It's sort of like, well, I don't want to do any work, so I'll let you do all the work.
That's right.
I mean, go on, do a little discovery, be a business person. But I'm Shawna, Shawna, is how you spell it. So it's Shawna at womeninthepetindustry.com. And then my tele is 503-970-5774. And I'll repeat it so that people have a chance. It's 503-970-5774. And of course, Shawna, Shawna, at womeninthepetindustry.com. And that's our website as well, womeninthepetindustry.com.
And also, too, of course. No, listen, also, too, we'll also have this on the Pets Mean Business website, on the PetLifeRadioNetwork.com website as well. So you can get it that way. But let me, now that we've given you all of your data out, I just want to, before we go to break, I want to just do an intro. I just jumped right into your website and you, and we're having this conversation. But let's just take a second and just talk about who are you? Who is Shawna Schuh? So I already said that I know you from being this person, the founder of Women in the Pet Industry and creating this wonderful organization. But let's just get to, if you wouldn't mind, may I speak a little bit about who you are and give a kind of an intro bio, or would you prefer to do that? I guess it's up to you. What would you prefer?
Well, and Jamie, let me just ask a bigger question possibly, because what I do is a lot of coaching. Is it best for because I think they got it. I think you did an amazing job. I think they know how to get a hold of me, and we've got the website. What if we ended before break with something that could really be valuable to them? What if we gave them some content here to say, because my contact information is my contact information. It's there. But one thing that you mentioned, you were talking about the industry, or maybe I'm in a good place for what the industry needs now. I thought I might address that just a little bit. We obviously are a network that serves every category in the pet space. So nothing like this has happened before. All the manufacturers and retailers are together, and all the groomers are over here, and, all the trainers have various different associations. And my goal is that we take them all together so that we can share ideas. But I was listening to a TED Talk, and if people don't know about TED, TED, it's the TED Talk.
That's right.
It would be a good thing for them to learn. But one of the things I just watched recently, and they were talking about why a startup works. And I would say this is the why any business succeeds. And it was just one thing. There's only one real reason why a startup is really successful. And that one thing is timing.
That's right.
And I thought, how interesting. It was talking about why Airbnb is so popular right now. Because if you 10 years ago said, hey, you want to bring people to sleep on your couch or in an extra room in your house, people would have been askance.
That's right.
But because people want to earn more money, and because there's not, hotels have gotten so busy, it's the right time right now.
That's right.
Same with Uber.
Yes. Do you know that Airbnb had to relaunch and pivot 5 times before they got to the model where they're at? And they were all close to failing a number of times. Yeah, it's really interesting to think about that, because I think that's something else that people don't think about when they're taking into consideration an entrepreneur and what they're doing. There's a long road potentially. So yes, it's a timing issue as well. But please, go ahead. I just love that story. I just learned that myself recently, so I always find that interesting. Go for it, please. Continue.
Yeah. And so how do we help the listeners right now is that they need to ask themselves a couple of questions. With WIPN, which is the Women in the Pet Industry Network's acronym, I looked at it and made some phone calls, and I was intrigued by it. There's been associations for women forever. Why not one in the pet industry that hit all categories? So what questions are you asking in your business that are going to get you to smarter answers? I guess that would be my first tip here. Is it the right timing for you? Is there a need for what you're offering? And who needs it the most? So I would say those are maybe 3 different things that might help you as you move up to break.
Okay, so I love that. And so as you can see, everybody, Shawna is, I don't know if we mentioned this, but she's actually a professional speaker and a presenter and an author and an executive coach, like she mentioned, and is incredibly articulate and thoughtful. And that's why having her as a guest today is more than just a space filler. Not that my guests are ever space fillers, but I wanted to bring Shawna on a little bit. I feel like this was the right timing to have Shawna as a guest, because now that we've had a few episodes, we're building up some listenership. This is really the time that I want folks to. I want you guys to know who Shawna is. I want you to hear the things that she has to say and how she's saying it, because it is incredibly meaningful. On that, we are going to take a short break. I'm really happy that you're here with my guest, Shawna Schuh. My name's Jamie Migdal. I'm your host. That's Mean Business on the Pet Life Radio Network, and we'll be right back.
Active for Pets is a new wellness platform and app that helps pet parents save time and money on their vet bills. Stop paying for unnecessary vet treatments. Consult with a vet online. Get unlimited access to your pet's entire health history from any computer or smartphone with the Active for Pets app. Vaccinations, medications, test results, and more. Active for Pets gives you access to a team of expert vets for non-emergency care. Make an appointment before, during, or after office hours. Skip the waiting room and get a secure online vet consult on your schedule. Taking care of your pets is as easy as it gets with Active for Pets. Ready to try Active for Pets? Listeners get 40% off a one-year membership. To get this great offer, use promo code PETLIFE on the sign-up page of active4pets.com. That's ACTIV, the number 4, PETS.com. Or call 888-512-2848.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're back with Shawna Schuh, founder, president of Women in the Pet Industry, and which of course is the acronym is WIPIN, and you're listening to Pets Mean Business on Pet Life Radio Network. And like we were saying right before we went to break, Shawna and I are just going to talk to each other and talk about not just women in the pet industry, because although that is obviously the focus of Shawna's work, and that's the organization. P.S. Again, another disclaimer: I am a member of that organization as well, a proud member, and also would strongly encourage you to check out that website, become a member. I've had nothing, truly, Shawna, and I'm not trying to be a commercial here, this is just my experience. Since becoming a member, it's opened my world to, I've been in this industry for 20 years. I've had 4 companies. I didn't know anybody. I thought I knew all these people. I thought I was in it and kind of, a mover and a shaker. Total BS. Was not. Have no idea. You have, through the network, introduced me to some women that have literally, since I've met them now, and I have seen them in conferences, and I've traveled with them, and I've had conversations. They've been guests on the show. What you've done for the industry and for professional women within the industry is really something that if you stopped today and did nothing else, you really have something to be proud of. How did you?
No, aren't you sweet?
No, it's not. But I'm serious. The
network is crazy. It's crazy great.
So how many people?
You're a great part of it. People adore you.
Oh, I love to hear that. Thank you very much. How many people are in the network?
One of the things that I was you're using the network, and I think that's the point here. And also, it's a valuable investment. I would also give a point to, you and I both know this. What are we investing our money and our time in? And it's just smart business to say, I'm going to belong to associations that I want to support. And if you come at them with, I'm going to give, which is our whole philosophy. I'm going to give to other women. I'm going to give my help. And by the way, we have male members.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I was just going to say that. We do.
Different times. Yeah, we do have male members. But the reason is we're called the women in the pet industry because there's something that happens when women help women, like you and I having a little chat. Big magic happens. Like suddenly, it's not you and me, it's this synergy, and you know what, you need to know this person, and we help each other. It's like when you have a great new skincare or something, you go, I love this, and so you share, and that's what we're doing. And it's not me. I realize that I'm leading it, but it's the women in it, like yourself and other people. So going to your question, we have everybody from people who own their own businesses, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, corporate people, that are the director of sales, or they are the founder, or they are the owner of that particular corporation, and they're strong. One of our winners from last year's Women in the Pet Industry Award, we give 5 awards for women in the pet industry and a 1 overall Woman of the Year. And we announce those at our yearly conference, which is coming up in August, the 13th, 14th, and 15th. And look at that. There's no other award in the entire industry for any businesswoman in the pet industry.
It's true.
These women are so darn inspirational. So one of the winners was a corporate, and the actual winner of the overall Woman of the Year works corporate. It isn't her business. Then we had a woman who was founded.
Wait, did you say it was not her business? Wait, the woman who won it wasn't her business? No. She was just I don't think I realized that. Do you want to just say who that was?
Yeah, it's Lori Clemens from Pet Hub.
Oh, Pet Hub, right. Of course. Their
entire focus is they help lost pets get home. And they do it quicker than anybody else.
Right.
They are passionate about this.
Right.
She's the director of marketing, and she's brilliant.
Yeah, she is.
And then we had we had Robin Bennett, who is a couple of trainers in there. And we have people who have multiple franchises. So we have these crazy great, our first Woman of the Year, Darlene Wheelington. She is really an entrepreneur. She has 5 businesses in Arkansas, believe it or not. But she is so involved with community. You are inspired by these women. So we've got trainers, we've got pet detectives, we've got people who serve the pet industry, like insurance companies for pets, and we also have air filter services. But then we have tons and tons of treat companies and manufacturers.
You do. Yep,
I just love our members. They're crazy great.
How many members are there, would you say, in total, even average?
Right around 500, yeah. 500.
I mean, that's just, hold on. And how long have you been doing this? When did you found the organization?
We're in our 3rd year. I actually purchased the name from somebody who was doing a poor job.
Okay.
So it was
I didn't know that.
It was
so
an idea.
How did you come across it in the first place? So did you have the idea first and then found the name, or did you see that it was already out there and not being done well?
Yes.
Or both.
And so I actually started researching, like many of your listeners, I started researching the pet space and went, well, first of all, a better story is I do executive coaching, and I'm coaching now inside the pet space a lot, but I have many clients outside of the pet space. And I was talking to one of my clients, and I finally just said to him, you need to get a dog. And he was askance, I said it lovingly, but he was like, why would I get a dog? They're smelly, and And I said, and you have to be consistent with an animal. And second of all, you can't fire them.
You cannot fire them. That's true.
You cannot fire them. And I was like, I need to work with people who understand pets. They have a heart for it. They get it. And so I decided that my trajectory as a businesswoman would be that I would still I love my clients, but I would do more and more with people who have pets or in the pet space. So I started researching it.
Okay, so so just so I understand, and I think this is really helpful for people to understand in general, because the question that I hear a lot, and you obviously are party to these questions as well, is how did you get there, right? It's one thing once you're here or you've been introduced to it because your parents were in the pet industry or your husband or wife or partner or brother. That's one thing. But if you have literally no connection, no kind of organic connection to this industry, the $60 billion industry, what was that turning point? Was it the conversation with the guy on the phone and recognizing that he needed to understand a lesson through maybe what a dog can show him? Or was it through a different conversation? So what was that aha moment that even made you go investigate this? Or was it an article that you read in Forbes? I mean, that the pet industry was, a recession.
No, it was
growing. What was it?
Jamie, that was the turning point. Because I said, I was at a place in my career, which, by the way, many of our members are women on their 2nd and 3rd careers.
Absolutely.
And they already are savvy. They're already great business women, and they jump in and they're inventing things and putting out product that is just crazy. They're doing they're trainers now because they're tired of the corporate market. I mean, this is why we are so right, timing-wise, for where we're at now. But that moment when I said, why aren't I working with people who dig pets? I dig pets. I've lived with pets all my life. My husband, I was married for 26 years to a horse shoer. We had a retail store. I own a boarding business, for heaven's sakes, and never was really in the pet industry. So why women in the pet industry is so vitally important for just what you said. There are people working in their own silos, and they don't know who they need to know. And by the way, they don't know that they don't know.
No,
and
they don't.
This is why there's whipping. They need to come in, and then suddenly your eyes are opened, and you go, really? I could partner? Really? I could? My God, I got the best idea for my business from somebody that is in the pet industry and not in my niche.
So yesterday...
If we give, it's crazy. great.
Listen,
It's very great.
let me give you, we're going to go to break again in a second, but before we do that, I need to give you a real life example of whipping and how it worked in my life. And again, you guys, I am totally, this is actually not even, I did not plan to say any of this PS, and I know you know that, Shawna, because you actually have notes for, every time, when we do our episodes, when we do our shows, listen, a little kind of how we make the sausage is we send our guests outline of things we're going to talk about, an outline. And Shawna, are we following that outline at all? No.
No.
Not even a little
Tell
bit.
the example before break. Because I want to hear it so bad.
Okay, so the reality is that I was not planning, I wasn't planning on saying any of these things to pub whipping other than just wanting to hear about it and support it. But I actually had an experience yesterday where whipping was a real thing in my life. So I live in Chicago. And there's a woman here in Chicago, Tricia Montgomery, who is the founder who's the founder of Canine Fit Club. And she had in town one of her marketing consultant, Becky, whose name I can't pronounce the last name of, Becky Lubitsch. Yeah, Becky Lubitsch, who owns Dogbone Marketing. So here I am yesterday in Chicago at lunch with Becky and Tricia, talking about partnerships around a whole bunch of really cool initiatives. And let me tell you where that's going to take we're going to do some very cool things. In fact, I have a 1:30 call today after we're done recording our show. I have a call with Tricia to follow up on the things that we discussed at lunch yesterday. Very meaningful things that we're going to lead to doing some really inspirational things, driving revenue, a whole bunch of things that are important to business. And that's because of whipping. So I hadn't even thought about the timing on that lunch was yesterday and that we were doing our show today with you. But that is truly how what you're doing is impacting people without even realizing it. It's one of those things that you're like, how did I learn about that thing? How did we meet again? What happened? Shawna, that's probably happening on a daily basis from people that you have connected, whether you've done it because you said you and you need to know each other or it was just because of the network. But this is the pet industry, guys. This is really where it's ripe for innovation. It's ripe for new and interesting ideas. It's ripe for making new connections. And Shawna has, in her own brilliance, found a way to, and again, timing is everything, going back to what you said, Shawna's found a way to make that all happen. So we'll come back. We'll talk more to Shawna about whipping and about just entrepreneurship and about all of the things that makes the pet industry so incredible from a woman's perspective. I'll be right back. This is Jamie Migdal, your host, Pets Mean Business on the Pet Life Radio Network. Be right back, guys. Chill out. Go pet your dog. See you in a minute.
It's designerpetsweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit designerpetsweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Large or small, we fit them all. designerpetsweaters.com.
Hi, I'm Dana Humphrey, also known as the Pet Lady. I travel from coast to coast to pet trade shows and consumer events to scout out what the hottest, hippest, and most unique pet products are on the planet, bringing you tips and tricks from top veterinarians, groomers, trainers on how to safely travel and live happily with your pets. The Pet Lady will be in a city near you, showing off the latest and greatest tech pet gadgets, cozy comforts, and fab gift ideas for man's and woman's best friend. You can learn more at thepetlady.net or connect socially and tweet with me at PetLadyWorld.
Pet Life Radio, the #1 pet radio network on the planet, joins forces with iHeartRadio to put the power of your pets in your pocket. Awesome. Download the iHeartRadio app and rock Pet Life Radio on your phone, on your tablet, on your Xbox, in your car. Pet talk, pet tunes, and fun pet times. Pet Life Radio and iHeartRadio. Positively possum.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi, guys. We're back. It's Jamie Migdal, your host on Pets Mean Business. So the Pets Mean Business means that pets are a big business. We know that. You know that, or you wouldn't be listening to the show because you're already aware of that. And what we're talking about with our guest, Shawna Schuh, today is looking for opportunities in the $60 billion industry and thinking about who you are, what you want, who you want to be, how to create that. Shawna Schuh's done a really great job with kind of really just baking all of that into her business, which is women in the pet industry. And we've been spending a lot of time talking about all of the good things that come from that, the connectivity, the inspiration, the community, the opportunities, all of that stuff. But Shawna, what we haven't talked about yet really is you. And I don't know if that's just part of who you are. I think that sometimes when you're kind of the outspoken and zealous person that you are, that maybe, and you're always coaching people and you're always helping people and you're very selfless with how you live your life. I think that's very evident, everything I've seen about you. But what about you? What do you need? And how is the role of being an entrepreneur impacting your life? And I really would like to kind of talk about that. Let's talk about you. Let me be here for you. Let's
and by the way, you do this really well. You'll go in and we'll talk about business, and then you really delve in. And that's the beauty about you. Something really special is that you do. You ask people about themselves and what is really happening, and you listen really well. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that. But I don't know. We're all in this together, and everyone's so, we live in a world that everyone's so worried about everybody else. And I think that that's just not healthy all the time. So thank you for saying that.
Yes, that's what we learn.
I know.
Is that when we go into business, and I think as a younger woman it's like, oh my God, I've got to make money and I want to make money at this. And then as you do start making money and you're getting good at yourself. And by the way, I guess that would be something about me that I learned at an early age, that if I was going to invest in anything, it was going to be me.
How did you learn that?
When I was young, I had a woman. I remember walking in, and when we were saying, I'm in love with you professionally, I walked in to this company, and this woman, I didn't have an interview. I didn't even have an appointment. I didn't have my resume. Somebody had said, God, go in there and see what they're about. I mean, talk about silly, stupid. This woman was so gracious, though, and she ushered me into her corner office with this big round window. She was stunning and confident. I fell madly in love and went, I want to be just like her. And she was smart. She said, well, what can you offer? She didn't put me down because I wasn't prepared. I didn't have an appointment. She says, I tell you what, we're looking for this. Why don't you figure out what you can create for us and bring back? Now think about this for just a minute. Here I am, young and hungry, and I would do anything for her. I went out, researched the entire thing for her, built an entire program for her, did all of it, which she did not pay me for. I mean, talk about a smart woman.
Yep.
And yet I would have done anything for her because I was so anxious. And they took me to educational things. I went to see Zig Ziglar when I was like in my, early 20s. I started following people who could inspire me. I'm a lifelong learner. It's just part of who I am. It's my DNA now.
So do you feel like that being an entrepreneur is in your DNA?
Apparently. I can't go back and say that I did it when I was a younger girl. I mean, I was always involved with kind of the renegade area where, like, if everybody was going one way, and it could be that I'm a redhead, white pasty skin. I had braces and freckles. Nobody was going to look at me for my looks, trust me. So it was like you had to be funnier, smarter, quicker, whatever you had to be. And so that withstood me. However, now I like being the person who watches and helps other people be the stars. It makes me feel vitally important that I can help the next.
I have to go back to this. Do you really think that part of your success and part of your kind of personal and professional development is grounded in the fact that you didn't think that you had the physical attributes to be able to have some of that? If you couldn't depend on your physical attributes? Because, by the way, I think that you are just gorgeous. And I'm not saying that it sounds so cheesy. No, you're a beautiful woman. Truly beautiful. Like, I'm actually shocked to hear you say that you don't feel like you are or that you were. Do you think that was a driving force, that you didn't feel confident in your looks? Because that is a thing for women. I mean, I don't think that's...
I do, and that's why I think I understand women so well and why I love them so much. I think no matter how much, and I have no problem now. I get that I'm strong and powerful and I'm smart and, all those things. However, when you're young, all of us had a couple of things. And I remember my mother saying to me one time, and I'll never forget it. It was like the defining moment. I'm trying to get ready to go someplace. I'm, an early tween, or maybe I'm a tween or whatever they call them. And my mother goes, oh, honey, I'm so glad you're not beautiful. And I remember, I look at her and I went, but Mom, you told anybody you're supposed to think I'm beautiful. She goes, oh, I think you are so beautiful inside, and I think you're attractive, Shawna. But when beauty is all you have, usually there's tears involved. And you have something so much more important. And you know what? I believed her. I'm like, I have something much more important. So it wasn't that I thought I was I was a redhead, white, pasty skinned gal, but I also realized that my mother gave me a big gift that day. Mm-hmm. She said, use your mind. Mm-hmm. And she said, be a person of value, not a person of beauty. Yeah, so big time. Big change.
That's really, that's just what a wonderful parent you had in her to be able to give you that kind of insight into yourself and to give you that kind of honesty and couch it in such a way that it wasn't a, your ugly
hurtful.
Butt. I mean,
yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's like, oh, honey.
Oh, you poor thing. You better get smart because you're not going to,
right.
It's interesting because I don't think about this often, but, and I don't know how much you see of this being in the space that you're in within the industry, but, the pet industry is obviously largely women, especially as it relates to the services verticals, right? Grooming, veterinary, daycare, training, etc. It's largely women. The men on the other side are on the we see men more in the corporate roles, C-level, more executive roles, more on the manufacturing, food, pharma, that sort of side. In fact, I just had this experience, and I know that you also did. We were together at a conference called Blog Pause in Nashville a few weeks ago, you and I. And, it's what? Yep. How many women? What did you say, 75% women at that conference?
Probably. It might have been higher. It probably was 85 if we really looked at it.
Okay, so let's just go 85%. And I'm going to say something right now, which, listen, I'm going to say it. So it was probably 85% women, and, they're bloggers and they're business people, and they're doing really cool things. And we can talk about Blog Pause another time if you're interested. We can always, anyone that's interested in hearing about Blog Pause, you can check out their organization. Very cool. Anyway, point is that there are all these women. And at one point during the conference, I went and took my laptop. I had to get some work done. And I went into the bar area of this hotel. It was the Sheraton Music City in Nashville. Beautiful hotel, beautiful everything, lots of space. And I went and I sat down with my computer and started doing work. And I looked up to my left and I looked up straight in front of me, and there were 2 meetings going on. And they were clearly very intense meetings. There were 6 people or 7 people in one meeting, the one right in front of me. And then to the right, there were 7 or 8 people in that meeting. I was able to overhear some of the things that they were talking about to the meeting on my left, and they were talking about, it was people from a large food company, and they were talking about business stuff. It doesn't matter what they were talking about, but high-level stuff, lots of revenue-based conversation and growth-based conversation. But do you know what? Out of all of those, let's say there were 14 people having these 2 really intense meetings, do you know how many women were represented in those groups?
How many women? I bet.
How about 0?
I don't know.
0.
Really?
No, legitimately 0. I mean, legitimately. And by the way, I actually knew some of these guys, and these are good guys, smart guys. This isn't a statement on these men at all. But what this was a statement. It was not about that. But wow, for all of the women that are in this industry and that we're representing all of these verticals and all of these avenues of development and innovation, we're missing in we're missing in the boardroom. We're missing in the C-level suite. We're missing. And
However, we're also going to change that.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
This is going to be the forefront of that. We need to, hopefully every listener that's listening to this podcast and into the future will, number one, join our network, because the only way that we can get power is if we get bigger, and then come to the conference. So suddenly we're doing things that they're going to, at the conference last year, from year 1 to year 2, there was one woman who just begged me to speak the second year, and I said, why do you want to speak? And she said, because in 1 year, I have either partnered, they've helped me, something, over 29 other members in this last year.
Wow.
I went, are you kidding me? So we will be a force to be reckoned with. And I agree with you. We need to be there. But instead of lamenting about why we are not, let's just do it.
Agreed.
And that means we have to have enough power to be invited to the table, or we have to ask to be invited to the table. That's a good point right there. How often do we ask?
That's
Not
right.
Often enough.
Well, that's the thing. How often do we ask? And I don't know. And how aware are we of this too? I mean, it's not even about how do we get there, but is there an awareness about the fact that there were 2 of these giant meetings happening in this environment which were largely attended by women, and there wasn't one woman represented? And so it's more about, I think what your organization is doing is way beyond, all of the networking that's being done and all of the opportunities that are being created via that networking. I think that there's something about really shining a spotlight on the fact that there are women in the pet industry that are way beyond, and listen, I am a dog trainer, so I'm saying this as a dog trainer, that aren't just dog trainers, or aren't just groomers, or aren't just running around playing with dogs and BS. I've been doing that for most of my career, so I'm allowed to say that, but that there's so many other opportunities for us, and that we need to start carving out places for us to be those voices because we have a perspective, and you and I both know this, that is unique and does create a tremendous amount of value beyond our wildest expectations. So what a great way for us to kind of wrap up talking about that, talking about how important it is for us to take care of each other, as women, and for women to take care of men too, by the way, right? This isn't about just women taking care of women. This is about women being there, being present, being available, being willing. And WIPN is really a great platform for all of those things. So I'm grateful to you as a member and as someone who's gotten to know you and has come to have just developed an incredible respect for you. And I've fallen in love with you. Yeah, I really have. And I know a lot of people, in fact, everyone I know who knows you, and I say this because it's true, I have never heard anyone say a negative thing about you.
No, I love that. That's nice. Yeah. My goal is to help and serve people. And if that's my goal, and then people get it. So, and I want the listeners to check us out on womeninthepetindustry.com. However, I would love them to think about investing in themselves to come to our conference. That's my biggest thing now is it's not just being part of a network, it's sitting across the table from somebody. It's different than you. The energy of, like you and I on a phone call together, how many people get a chance to do this? So I'm appreciative that you've asked me and that I can do this with you. But really sitting across the table from women, there, live, and then having the next day to follow up and think about it overnight and come back and say, I thought about you and here's what I think. Helping other women live. Where do we do this? This conference is only for them. And so this is anomaly. And we're giving the Woman of the Year. It's so inspiring. You just wouldn't believe it. The people who go, I don't know, partly they're like, shh, it's so great. We don't want it any bigger.
We want to keep it intimate. It's our secret, right? Exactly. Well, actually, Shawna, will you give the date and location of the conference before we wrap up?
Perfect. It's August 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's in beautiful Portland, Oregon. You don't want to be any place else but Portland, Oregon in the summer. It's such a crazy, great city. We're going to be downtown at the Crown Plaza. You can find all that information out on our website, womeninthepetindustry.com.
Great.
It's 3 packed days. It's just crazy great. Lots and lots of networking. And more importantly, we do our conference a bit different in that we say at the very beginning, what are you here for? Now get together with somebody else. Make it happen. Let them know because we're all looking out for each other.
That's right.
That's what's different. We look out for each other.
That's really what this show is about, is all of us looking out for each other. You do it in a very unique way, and I hope this show allows people to see all of the different ways that this industry is welcoming and warm, and there are lots of opportunities. And whatever you're doing, guys, whatever you're doing, whether you're looking to create a new pet business, whether you're looking to grow the pet business you're in, whether you're looking because you want to create your first animal rescue organization, whatever it is, please reach out to me anytime, Jamie@PetLifeRadio.com. I'm happy to introduce you to people, give you resources, be a support for you. You know, you're not alone. We're all in this together. We're really lucky to be a part of an industry that's so passionate and so meaningful and so inspiring. And I've met my best friends. My life, I don't know what my life would look like if I didn't have the pet industry. I don't know what that would look like. Forget the fact that I've got to, get to be with animals all the time and whatever. But that's just like the obvious kind of, that's just the icing. But the real meat of it is that the people in this industry are fabulous. And obviously, you guys, we just got to spend a half hour with one of the most fabulous, Shawna Schuh, founder and president of Women in the Pet Industry. And thank you, Shawna. Thanks for your time. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all of your honesty and vulnerability and advice and compassion. It was awesome. All right, guys.
Thanks for what you do. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. All right, guys. This has been Pets Mean Business on the Pet Life Radio Network. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Let's Talk Pets every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.